How y'all doing? It's Friday. Alright, we talking about Keith Davis today. Y'all talked about Mayor Pugh yesterday in sentencing. Today they got Keith Davis' sentencing. And Keith Davis should be free. Marilyn Mosby testified in Annapolis this week talking about those two brothers that was in jail for 30 years on wrongful convictions. In the same breath, she's sitting here trying to send Keith Davis to jail for 30 years for a crime he didn't commit. You know what I'm saying? Wrongful convictions. My whole thing with my videos and my movies and my documentaries is about wrongful convictions and the war on drugs and how you demonize black bodies in Baltimore. Baltimore Rewired. You want to talk about the murder and the death? You want to talk about the murder and death? Let's talk about the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the war on drugs. That's just one of the facets that destroys the black community. The other facet is greed. Haves and the have-nots. There was a scientific experiment, and they did it with rats. And they used these rats in this little maze. They had 24 rats, a dozen females and a dozen males. And they put the males and the females in there, and they let them do what they do. They had resources. When the rat population got up to like 48, they started taking the resources away. Thus, you have the ghetto. We got food deserts. We're lacking in education. We're lacking in skills. We have no corporate ties to corporate responsibilities. All you do is use us as labor, and it's disposable labor. You hire us and fire us anytime you want, and you always use that drug testing as a reason to fire us. But now you got medical marijuana and legal marijuana, so how is you working with that shit? Because I don't see white people going to jail like you sending black people going to jail. I don't. In Baltimore, it was just black. Black politicians, black people. And nobody hold white Baltimore accountable. I'm a one-man wrecking show because I don't need 1 million people to march. I need 1 million people to pay attention. And if I go to jail, it's just one person I got to worry about bail money. One person I got to worry about commissary. One person can organize. And I am an organizer. I organize in jail and I organize on the streets. 2020, we're going to sit here and go after the war on drugs. I got a lot of people calling me about lawyers and shit like that. I am not a lawyer. I'm not practicing law. I'm just telling you about my case and how I defended myself. But in 2020, we're going to get a class action lawsuit. I'm getting ready to write Kirk Smoke, Doug Colbert from the University of Maryland. I'm getting ready to get in touch with a whole lot of different people in the next 2-3 months. And by September, I'm going to have a class action ready to go. And we also going to have my writ of certiorari for the Supreme Court. I want a writ of certiorari. You kidnapped me. You stole me. You lied to the grand jury. And you used your white power to do that. So in 2020 session, I'm coming to see Scott Schellenberger. A black man is going to speak up against white supremacy in Annapolis. When I come to Annapolis, I don't give a fuck about no new laws. I don't give a fuck about shit. I give a fuck about you kidnapping me. I give a fuck about you taking my property. I give a fuck about you lying to the grand jury. So when I come down there, I already gave the House Judiciary and the Senate Judiciary my paperwork. I don't want no new laws. Grand jury 2020. I don't get the grand jury, I get the Supreme Court. Because you're going to show me where blacks have no rights in Maryland. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you protect my rights, Schellenberger going to go to jail. If you don't protect my rights, Schellenberger going to go to jail. I want Schellenberger because that's white supremacy in its purest power. Because he's sitting here with that power, that pen, to send us to jail. In Baltimore County, he's been doing it for too long. Bobby Zirkin, Broshin, Lafferty, The Baltimore County delegation, man, y'all gotta address this. Silence is consent. And I'm not accepting no silent shit. Baltimore City delegation, you got to deal with it too. All of y'all. Do blacks have rights in Baltimore? Yes or no? That's gonna be plain and simple. We don't want no candy-coated conversations. If blacks have rights, then why is my property not returned to me? If blacks have rights, why was I illegally incarcerated? Mary Ross Cunningham, why was I incarcerated in Lake County, Illinois? Sam Cunningham, you got evidence. Y'all making a lot of money off of black bodies in Lake County, Illinois, and in Baltimore County. We locked up unless we proven innocent. That standard of justice is in the grand jury's hands. So in 2020, we're gonna approach the grand jury. When you go, I go. I'm gonna put my evidence against your evidence. You feel me? Your evidence against my evidence. Because Mary Ross Cunningham, you was there June 10th, 2008 when I testified in front of the county judiciary. When I testified in front of you, Angelo Kyle, and the rest of y'all. I still ain't got my justice, and you not gonna get no peace. Y'all watching my live feeds and y'all watching me, but I'm watching you watch me. You feel me? Governor Hogan be watching my shit. Jane Miller be watching my shit. And that's where I'm gonna get the media at. Because I'm getting ready to file them FCC violations on y'all's ass. Y'all called me a terrorist. Fox 45 keep calling me out my name. I ain't gonna let you do no live feeds if you don't change your narrative. And like I said, I go to jail for the right reasons. Shutting Fox 45 down is a good reason. My camera's stronger than yours. This started in Lake County, Illinois, with Mary Cunningham and Sam Cunningham, Mayor Sabanjan, Michael Waller, Ken LaRue. Y'all kidnapped me in 2007 because I came to file a class action lawsuit. Dog, I'm gonna file that lawsuit. Ain't no statute of limitations on murder and attempted murder. Ain't no statute of limitations on fraud in the court. I was locked up with Benny Starks. I was locked up with Juan Rivera. Yeah, we coming after your courts and your money. We coming after your state's attorney and your grand jury. And we're gonna make it a class action lawsuit because you've been doing it to a class of people. You've been doing it to the south side of Waukegan, and you've been doing it to black Baltimore. Do what you gotta do, but you gotta see me, 2020. And not seeing me in court, I'm making a movie. So when the movie come out, y'all can't check shit. You gotta eat all that. When the movie come out, and it's been in the work for 13 years, it's gonna come out like drip, drip, drip. To dismantle the master's house, you gotta use the master's tools. I use the computer, I use the Constitution, and I use the courts. And ain't nobody beat me in court yet. Skeletons in your closet gonna open up doors to my future. Judge Boris was the state's attorney. State's attorney Boris, when I got locked up, he was my prosecuting attorney. State's attorney Boris stole $15,000 from a nonprofit organization. Shorty's was a registered nonprofit. And you can check with the state of Illinois. Check with the 1986 registry. I registered in November 85. My program is legit. Now I waited this 30, 40 years because March the 3rd, 2020 is my anniversary. And I waited this long because that's my 401k. I told y'all before, you can't rob drug dealers. And y'all still robbing drug dealers. The gun task force was robbing them in Baltimore, and y'all still robbing them in Lake County, Illinois. Y'all using Cook County Sheriff's Department. Y'all using y'all's gang task force there to do it in Lake County. And I named y'all in 2008 when I was locked up. Me and Michael Alport made a documentary about racism in the courts. That shit legit. White boy and a black man. I made good use of my time while I was locked up. I kept a jailhouse diary. Jake Davis, James Hammond, Gerald Davis Jr., Deron Battle. Dog, y'all conspired. It was a conspiracy. It's called a vulnerable individual law. Y'all emptied my bank account while I was out of town. And then when I came back, y'all told me go fuck myself. No, you use my likeness, you use my money, and use my property. Somebody going to jail, and it ain't gonna be me. No taxes was filed. Y'all made over $250,000. Money count itself. And I want to audit, because I'm getting ready to go back into business. And I want my books cleared. I want to know where my money at. So Brian Frost, Peter Francott, Governor Hogan, Johnny Oleski, Chief Hyatt, Marilyn Mosby. When I see you in Annapolis next week, or when I get down there, I'm getting ready to ask y'all questions. And I'm going to ask you legal questions. Access to the grand jury 2020. Return to my property 2020. Compensating me for my losses in 2020. Because the movie coming out in 2020. You between a rock and a hard place. The mud and the dirt. Heads I win, tails you lose. You should have picked a fight with a different motherfucker. You should have never picked a fight with me. I told y'all when we started this in 2006, you rather walk through hell with gasoline drawers on than fuck with me. I left them drawers at Johns Hopkins University the other day. And a toilet. You're going to see a lot more drawers and a lot more toilets. Because you didn't lock me up. So that means that I got a freedom of speech. And my speech is going to be shitting on you. I'm getting ready to go through the tunnel. I'm getting ready to go do what I got to do. I got other things to do. But in 2020, accessing the grand jury, return of my property, and do blacks have rights in blacks have rights in Baltimore? Because we're going to put that shit to the test. I am Dre Scott. You better go to my Shorty video page, because all this shit is already done. It's called a Ghetto Da Vinci Code. And I'm going to put that shit in place. I holler at you. My battery running dead. So is your time.